No, fuck off. Matchday 6 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code PLGP to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Thursday, September the 26th. We are here to have a look around the Premier League Matchday 6 action for Saturday and Sunday this weekend. Joining me from somewhere in, I'm going to guess Nottinghamshire, is Mr. Barry Penaluna. Barry, what's happening?
Not a lot, really. I've had a very busy day, a very busy night. Seem to have been all over the place. So literally just arrived home about 5 minutes ago to get stuck into this. It was a tricky one, though, wasn't it? Difficult night, difficult weekend. Nothing jumped out straight away. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the last couple of weekends I thought looked quite straightforward and turned out to be not so. So we'll see. So I haven't been had a look at any of tonight's stuff. But during the little intro there, I heard you say a little swear word. So I assume one of your picks isn't going well.
Well, yeah, I put the 60-second countdown on, and then I thought I'd put myself on mute. But I didn't fancy the football tonight. I couldn't be tuned with it. So I put a bet on the baseball. You know, I do the MLB show on this network as well. So I backed the under in the Cardinals-Rockies game. In the field, I just dropped an absolute dolly of a play about 20 seconds of the way through the introduction. I just shouted, "Oh, fuck off," at the top of my voice. And then realised I wasn't on mute and wondered how many people caught it. But Harry definitely caught it because he posted in the chat. So that's why I was giggling like a little schoolgirl when the thing came on. So that's the terrible start to a bet. No, I didn't enjoy Baz handicapping these games at all. I don't know. I'm still sulking that Newcastle was so bad last week. So I'm still not interested in football for the time being. And then I think we're going to get beat off Man City. And I've also got to go to work after the game, so I can't really enjoy the day out. I can't have a couple of beers before the game, and after the game, I've got to drive later on. So I was handicapping everything, just in a bad mood. Like I say, me and football aren't friends this week. So I just wasn't feeling it. It does seem quite chalky. Seems quite favourite heavy. I've got some very short plays, Baz, actually, especially early on in the slate. Couple of plus money later on. I was struggling to find an underdog for the dog section. I literally not got a one money line underdog to pick from. There's only one that kind of fits the criteria. So yeah, wasn't really feeling it much. And running scared a little bit from not having the best couple of weeks. So it was only last week week 3 was great. Week 4, a little bit below average. So maybe we can get back on the horse, Baz. I mean, what's happening in the old footy tonight? Tottenham still 0-0. You got any of your plays live tonight? You got a few out of
the over 2.5 in the Roma v Bilbao game. Roma are currently 1-0 up after about 35 minutes, so still in play. And Tottenham have only just kicked off now, haven't they? They're a late kick-off. against
Why?
Carabag. I don't know. Well, it's just showed on my thing that it was the first minute. Is that correct? 2 minutes in.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're...
1:44, something must have happened to the old Fancy Pants Stadium or the rain or something. I don't know.
It's down now as a 20:35 kickoff, so I don't know what that's all about.
Somebody, the Karabakh bus was late, according to Coisty. Coisty wants to talk Europa League. I'm guessing Rangers won. I saw they went 1-0 up in the first minute. But like I say, I just avoided the football this week. But Coisty's buzzing. Harry was first in, getting told to fuck off before the show had even started. Ian lights out. Welcome along. Callum's here. Always. Lee, Michael. Pete's picks. Pete gave us a pick on Sunday night, which won duly on Monday at Newcastle. So there you go. Rangers won 2-0. Well done, Coisty. Rangers traditionally have had no luck in Sweden at all over the years, but duffed up Malmo tonight. So the rest of the week's picks, Baz, were a little bit shit. I got Wickham and Villa, both teams to score the other night, which nearly missed. Wickham scored like the 94th minute, but they should have scored 100 before that. They missed 2 open goals in the 93rd minute, and I was swearing then as well. They had like the 3 best chances of the game in the last 60 seconds, missed 2 of them, and then scored 1. Porto lost. Dynamo Kiev was terrible. The Barrow pick, I think. What people seem to have misunderstood with the Barrow pick, Barry, it was kind of like I don't want to say like
a losing pick. Is that what it was?
Right?
It was a loser. It was kind of like a loser, is what it was.
No. That's the wrong word, Barry. People who like been in the industry for a long time, you see, you spot sort of opening line value, Barry. It was more my reading of that game was almost like a lecture, it was educational, it was edutainment on how to spot opening line value. The World and his wife then came for Barrow. Did you notice a deluge of money in the next 24 hours? Is that 40-1 closed at 22-1? And by that time, everyone was out, profit locked in the bank, and sure enough, Chelsea and then are allowed to run out 5-0 winners. So I was delighted with that one, Baz. You hit the post a little bit with Walsall, didn't you? Who took 3 of the worst penalties you've ever seen. Particularly the third penalty was dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, kill my AFL picks because I said Chelsea would win by 4 or more. Chelsea handicap -3.5. And I also give a little steer. I said they'd win 4 or 5-0. So I give a little steer towards the correct score in that one as well, which I would say is definitely better value than you just getting a good price about a loser. And yeah, the underdog that I picked out was Walsall to beat Leicester and took them to penalties, almost got there. But as you say, couldn't score a penalty was the problem. But for a 9-1 shot, finishing 0-0 against the Premier League side, I've had worse underdog players, that's for sure. I had one pick in the Europa League last night, was a loser. That was Porto. I think we were both on that. Porto beat Porto Glint. Porto were down to 10 men as well for the last half hour of that. And still managed to hold on. And as I say, I'm waiting for the goals in Roma v Bilbao tonight.
I'll. What was I going to say? Oh, I can't remember. Newcastle obviously didn't play because Wimbledon's pitch fell in. So I got a couple of spare tickets today. Picked up a few spares to go to the game next Tuesday. Newcastle do Chelsea in the next round if we do get through. So there you go. I've got a couple of little things, Barry, if we'll dip into the lifestyle section early before handicap. First thing I just want to mention, I know there's quite a few Premier League gambling podcast completists around. And you will remember my sister officially became Mrs. Imison with an Imison today. She got married. I didn't even know she was getting married, Baz. I probably should have paid more attention until a photo appeared in the family group chat of her with a frock on.
You didn't even get invited to your sister's wedding.
She is officially Mrs. Imison with an Imison, so congratulations to her. Today, Barry, I have been to, you know me, I don't like to overdo it. I was working last night in Sheffield, so I got home quite late. I've got a job on Saturday, so you've got to be careful. I don't want to burn out, Barry. So today, I headed up to the Tranquility Spa in Ponteland. Go on. And I've just got a little bit of spa etiquette, Barry, that I wanted to discuss So I just done the standard sauna, steam room, jacuzzi, and all that. But there was two things that caught my eye. They both happened in the same place. They both happened in the tropical storm shower, Barry. So the tropical storm shower, you press the button, and different lights come on, and it makes like parrot noises at you. So it's quite, it's quite relaxing. You're in the shower, and it sounds like there's budgies and that flying around. There was about 14 people in the spa. Great big bloke about your size, is in the tropical storm shower and does the biggest burp you've ever heard, like a proper 6-pinter, like it come up from his toes. Yeah, I mean, he didn't even pretend to cover it. It echoed around. They're quite echoey places, spas. It echoed around, so that wasn't too bad. I just thought it was a bit rude, but it made me laugh. The second person, then, in the same tropical storm shower with the budgies tweeting, did the old snot rocket, a proper old-fashioned. He did a hock tour first into the drain, and then the double snot rocket. And you don't see that. Like, you see that in the football a lot, don't you? Like, a fullback's track the winger back, gets a tackle in, the camera pans in on him, and he's doing the snot rocket. And a woman come out the sauna and bollocked him for doing the snot rocket. He was quite a young lad. I also noticed, by the way, Barry, not many people look like me and you anymore. Not many young people have bodies like us. They're all quite muscly, aren't they? So anyway, a woman come out the sauna and bollocked him for doing the snot rocket, and he said it was all right because he directed it straight down the drain. So I just wondered what your thoughts were on snot rocket in the tropical storm shower, Barry.
I mean, it's definitely less acceptable than the odd burp, like. So I wouldn't approve of it. I'll be honest with you. Wouldn't like it.
Not having it. Especially, I mean, in the tranquility spa as well, Barry. That's not really tranquil, is it?
No, not at all.
I enjoyed it. I still smell a bit of. I've got that. What's the word? Eucalyptus. I can't sort of. It clings to you, doesn't it? I'm still a bit whiffy. Anything you want to add, Barry, or do you want to handicap some games?
No. Funnily enough, Malcolm, I have not been to a spa this week, so I don't have anything to add to that story. I'll be honest with you.
You've been working, have you?
I've been working very hard, and I've got a bit of fun tomorrow, a bit of forced fun, a bit of a work social tomorrow night. Going to 10-pin bowling, followed by crazy golf. So what do you think about that?
I'm fucking mint at crazy golf.
We've talked about my 10-pin bowling before. Struggled to break double figures. So I've got a broken foot. I'm not expecting it to get any better this week, but I've got my excuses in already. Crazy golf, I'll be all right. Like, I reckon I'll smash them.
Little pick on the GGs from Pete for tomorrow. Hey, Doc, 325 is Francisco's piece. Pete's been in good form, so there you go. Cree's joined us as well. Cree, how are you doing? Cree fancies Newcastle's chances, but I'm not so sure. We're going to get to that then. That is the first game on the card. First off, though, I'm going to tell you that Doug Stanhope and Brendan Walsh are joining our owner Sean Green for a new podcast here called Get to the Points. Doug and Brendan are professional stand-ups. You'll know them from the Joe Rogan podcast, the Howard Stern Show, and Comedy Central. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Saturday lunchtime, 12:30, 7:30 Eastern Time. A game I will be at is Newcastle United against Manchester City. Newcastle are 17-4, plus 425. The draw is 130, plus 333. Man City are 3-5, minus 166. I mean, like I say, my main handicap is that I'm sulking a little bit that I have to go to work, and I'm still sulking from just how bad Newcastle were. That's really affected me last week. It seemed to be a bit of a crossroads game, and they went the wrong way. And I think it's going to be quite tricky to get back, certainly with a game against Manchester City. Newcastle haven't played well. Last weekend, we handicapped them as if playing badly and getting results was positive, when actually they just played badly and lost. If you wanted to make a case for them, like Craig's talking about, our home form has traditionally been stronger. Even this season, we've won 2 out of 2, although we haven't been great. At home is where we can cause teams problems. And we've done okay against Man City the last couple of years. We got touched off late on in injury time last year, 3-2. We had the 3-3 draw before that. So we've competed with them in really good games, actually. Last year was the game. James Mafia came up with his girlfriend came up from Toronto, and we had a few beers. It was good fun. But City's big news is Rodri missing. And obviously people always throw out those stats about how many games they win with him and how many games they lose without him. And I dare say at some point this season it will be important, but I don't think it will be this Saturday. I don't think it will be against the run-of-the-mill Premier League teams. It is a legitimate problem, but I'm not sure about this weekend. I don't trust Newcastle to do anything here, Baz. If you go through, I don't trust the goalkeeper. Nick Pope's forgot to show his hands on at least twice this season. I don't trust the defence. We're still a little bit short-handed, not defending particularly well. He doesn't know what his best team is. I don't trust the midfield, and there's a disconnect between them and the forwards. I don't trust Newcastle to do anything well. There's certain days where you do fancy Newcastle when you think as a whole, we can go and be a nuisance to somebody. But I just don't think Saturday is one of them, Baz. I don't know if this is a shit pick or not. I've got Man City to win, Baz. 3-5, -166.
You cannot have that. That's too short.
I'm having it.
You can't
It's
have
not.
that. No way. We
Shut
don't
up,
go
man.
that
If I
low
put
on this
50
show.
quid on that, 180, I'd be absolutely delighted.
When have we ever went as low as that on this show? You
Doing
need
it
to tag
today.
over.
I've told you why. You can shut up.
You
I'll
need
come
to
over
tag
and
the
push off your hair.
over 1.5 onto the end of it to put it to a
I'm
sensible
not doing
price.
it. I'm not
That's what
doing
you
it,
need to
Baz.
do. That's a
Nope.
shambles. You've totally
Good.
went against the spirit of the show with that sort of pick. It's an absolute
Well, I've
shambles.
just
I'm not having it.
explained. There's no
Listen,
spirit of the.
The chat is already, Michael's already called you out for it. 3-5 is scandalous. You can't have that. That's for other people to do. We don't put out 3-5s. I'm not having it.
Okay, now, right. Hang on. I
You
can't
need to
believe
look
I'm
for
being
another pick. I'll go through
peer
mine. And
pressured
you can,
into this. Right, hang on. I've got my bet builder open. Result: Manchester City, yes. Total goals
meanwhile,
over 1.5.
over
1.72. Are we allowed that? -140.
that gets you a bit closer. It's not great though, I'll be honest. Meanwhile, everybody else is going out and sticking the 1-0 on. 1-0 City.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, if I do that, I'm putting a saver on the 1-0.
But Michael's
I'm not
called you out
buying
for
it.
it. Rob Fewens is in there. He thinks it's poor. And Harry
You're
Douglas
right,
said
Rob.
Man City.
I'm not claiming. I'm not saying I don't want a certificate. I'm not expecting a Pride of Britain award for this pick. I've told you why I've made it, and I'm not. Come at me. I'm not bothered. Come. I'll post my address in the thing. I'm not having it. You say things.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to my head when I think about this fixture is, in recent times, I feel like we've done okay at St James's Park against Man City. We knocked them out the cup last year, the AFL Cup. In the league, we were 2-1 up against them with 15 minutes to go and conspired to lose that late Oscar Bob winner. So we pushed them close there. The year before, we had a decent 3-3 at home against them. So we have competed against them. A decent record recently, certainly under Eddie Howe, in terms of keeping it tight at least. However, like you, I just don't think we're a big enough price here to really get me interested in Newcastle, not even on a double chance or anything. After last week, and with us yet to really have put in a proper performance all season, really hard to want to get involved with Newcastle. As you say, Man City are without Rodri. They'll find a way. Man City always find a way to deal with things like that. They're still unbeaten. They've still not lost a Premier League game in 10 months now. So it's just impossible to back anyone to beat Man City at the minute in the league as it stands. So I'm taking City here. 3-5, Malcolm. No, I'm not. I'm taking City. I'm taking City on the Asian handicap, -1. Because a 1-goal margin could be on the cards from what we've seen in recent seasons. It is the sort of game where sometimes Newcastle just turn up. Something happens early on that gets the crowd on side. Newcastle might compete. So the 1 goal could be in play. They might nick it 1-0. And I'll get my money back and you'll be a loser. But that's where I've gone. Asian handicap -1. So if City win by 1, we'll get our money back. And if they win by 2 or more, we'll cash a winner. One I'd definitely be happy to lose, but I just don't think you can back Newcastle at the moment, and very hard to back against Man City.
Just to confirm, I'm sticking with my original pick, Manchester City. Michael's gone with Dan Burn to get booked. which is a nice pick, although he does fancy Newcastle maybe to nick a point, which I'm not buying at all. Not playing well enough, Michael. Next game, we're on to the 3 o'clocks. One of my favourite parts of the week where I count out loud how many 3 o'clock games. I love this. This is it's becoming a tradition, Barry. Right, there are I can't scroll down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 3 o'clock games on Saturday. First one is Arsenal taking on Leicester City. Arsenal are 1-8, -800. That's my pick. The draw is 7-1, and Leicester are 14-1. Baz, come on then, fancy pants. What you got?
I've got a plus money winner here, so I'm not going as low as you. I'm not stooping to your levels, that's for sure. Yeah, also Arteta's been a little bit vague this week, hasn't he, about injuries? He's alluded to the fact that someone might be injured. There was some talk, people are guessing it might be David Raya missing. Personally, I think it's all bollocks. I think he wanted to sit in that press conference the other day and say we weren't time wasting, we were injured, and then he could point to Wednesday. Yeah. So he could look at Wednesday night and they're playing who? Bolton, and he could say, "Look, I told you David Raya was injured. We've had to put a 16-year-old in goal." David Raya was never playing that game anyway, was he? Let's be honest. So I think again a bit of sort of bollocks from Arteta. I think players will be fit. Saka will be fit. David Raya will be fit, and they'll be good to go here. I think I'm not expecting, as I say, any big surprise in the lineup, and I think Arsenal will be fine. Obviously, 1-7, it's a hard starting point to find a win. Leicester have had back-to-back draws, albeit against fellow strugglers in Everton and Palace, two teams who aren't going particularly well. Have scored in every game so far, Leicester, which is a bonus for them. But apparently, they're absolutely stinking the place out in terms of performances. I've listened to a lot of the radio this week, and Leicester fans aren't happy at all with Steve Cooper.
I agree with you, Baz. I not to mention that.
Yeah, apparently they were awful in the EFL Cup this week, and they're not impressed at all with the type of football they're playing at the minute.
Bear in mind that fucking Leicester City and their squad shit. They just signed Jordan fucking Ayew. What do they want? Shut up.
I mean, this was the discussion on radio the day was are Leicester fans getting a little bit above themselves here in kicking off. Everyone expected they were going to struggle this year. They can thank themselves fortunate they didn't get their points deduction on a technicality. I just think, I don't know. I mean, one of the fans came on the pitch last night, didn't he? Apparently against whoever they're playing, Walsall. They came on and had a go at Cooper. I don't know what to make of Cooper. I've never really. I think sometimes you get managers who suit a club. Like Cooper seemed to suit Forest, and then I've just got a feeling he's never going to be. Have those sort of levels again. Certainly not at the top of in the Premier League or anything like that. I just think he might struggle a little bit if he goes from Leicester. I'm not sure where he goes, but as you see, they're probably getting a bit carried away early on and expecting much more than what they've had so far. The one thing I've pushed with Arsenal games all season was the unders. I thought it would look good against Man City, and by half time that was dead. So that ship has sailed. Arsenal are going to be back in amongst the goals. They ran up a big score last night, albeit against lesser opposition. But I think Arsenal might have a decent game here. Leicester have shown they can score against anyone. So that's on my side here. I like the goals, and I'm going to go for over 3.5 here. I think Arsenal might hit a score. I fancy Arsenal have a big game. I'm going to take over 3.5 goals, Arsenal v Leicester at 13-10.
I like Steve Cooper. He seems like a nice bloke. Seems like an easy person to root for. And obviously at Leicester, my mate's the assistant manager, Ben, whose kid plays for my kids' football team, or did until he signed at Newcastle. So I've got loads of time for Ben. So I'm kind of quietly rooting that they do okay. Ultimately, I couldn't give a shit. And they haven't been very good. But I couldn't believe the first time I looked at their squad on use the Premier League website, FPL, there was just nobody. There was like 13 blokes, and you hadn't heard of 9 of them. And then the big deadline day signings, Jordan Ayew, who strolls around. He could play over 50s walking football with you, Baz. So I don't know what to expect at all. this should be slightly less emotional spot for Arsenal. They're not very good in emotional spots, Barry. They get too excited, don't they? But they were good in these spots kind of last year. They beat the bottom three at home 2-0, 3-1, and 5-0. So they're covering handicaps. I mean, Leicester have managed to draw 3 of their 5 games, and they only lost the other 2 by a single goal. So there's no data for them to get humped. This is all. I do just fancy them to get humped, though. I absolutely think Arsenal could smash them. This just looks like a standard game. And Arsenal are really good at the back. I don't fancy Leicester to get involved at all here. Arsenal to win to nils short, 3-4, -133. But Joe Bamba's just put the winning pick in the chat, which is Arsenal to win both halves. I can see them absolutely smashing him. 1 or 2-0 in the first half and go and finish 3-4-5, something like that. And that's a really nice price. That's 5-4. That's +120. We're going to move on. Once I've told you about Underdog Fantasy, Pickham's always adding to their awesome menu. They've got first touchdown productions, loads of ways to win with NFL. You can use specials and boosts on all entries. I haven't got a pick this week. I think I've given out 3 winners in a row, but got nothing yet. I might have a look in a bit when Barry's talking. Use our promo code PLGP to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code PLGP. Next 3 o'clock is Brentford against West Ham United. Brentford are 5-4 +125. The draw is 5-2, and the West Ham United are 11-5 +220. Brentford have been all right, haven't they? They've won 2 and lost 3, but they've had a tough start. The 2 games they won have been their 2 home games, and you'd say 2 comparison games. Crystal Palace and Southampton. Southampton might be a little bit unfair as a comp to West Ham. They scored in the first 30 seconds against Manchester City and Tottenham the last 2 weeks, which is a bit unusual. Went on to lose both. Johan Wissa's missing and will be a big miss. He's a big part of what they do. But they have got some other bits and bobs player like Shard who comes in. West Ham, Joe's just pointing out that they've got a nice squad. But, I mean, remember West Ham won the transfer window. That's always a disaster. They've got 1 win and 1 draw. They've been poor. They were terrible against Chelsea last week, where they conceded 3. And then Liverpool smashed them for 5 more last night. I was tempted by Brentford. That team total, Brentford good for goals. The team total over 1.5 for Brentford is 5-6, -120. I do think if they score twice, they probably win. But like I say, I'm running scared a little bit. I don't want to be on the wrong side of a 2-2 draw here. So I'm going to take Brentford team total, Baz. 5-6, -120.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Brentford as well. I'm leaning towards Brentford here as well. I mean, Lopetegui, West Ham's another manager coming under some early pressure due to their poor start. And I said last week, I'd give West Ham too many chances, really, expecting them to improve based on them winning the transfer market, as you said. No winning 4. Heavy defeats to both Chelsea and Liverpool in the last week. They have had a tricky start. They played Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Villa, lost all 4 of them. But they were also poor away to Fulham in a draw as well, which is a decent comparison. And I just think Brentford have looked better. They've shown a bit more. You mentioned last week Wissel will be a big miss for them. That was certainly the case away at Spurs as they lost 3-1. But at home, against the struggling West Ham side, I fancy them to bounce back here. They've won their first 2 home games of the season already against Southampton and Palace, and I think they'll win this one. I'm just taking Brentford to beat West Ham at 6-5. But I don't mind your team total as well. It's possibly a good little way of giving yourself that little bit of insurance.
Yeah, West Ham, they nicked that late equaliser, didn't they, at Fulham last time? Harry points out the little quirk that West Ham have not been outside of London this season. What, they played 3 home games, and then the 2 away games have been at Crystal Palace and somewhere else. Can't remember where they played. Yeah, but anyway, that's the thing. 3 o'clock is Chelsea against Brighton. Chelsea are 7-10, -142. The draw 16-5 plus 320. Brighton are Burlington Birdie 100 to 30 plus 333. Baz.
What price are Chelsea here?
7 to 10 minus 142.
7 to 10. I mean, that's an acceptable price, isn't it? On today's show, it would seem.
It better be, because I'm going to pick them in about 3 minutes when you've finished.
Shambles. But as I said last week, I think Chelsea are just starting to click now. It feels like they're gathering a little bit of momentum. Unbeaten in 4 league games. They've still only lost to Man City on day one. And 3 straight clean sheets as well, if you include the cup game. Brighton have done what they did last season. Started off with a decent start, but then started to fizzle out really quickly. We talked about this last year and how the people got a little bit carried away with Brighton too early. And I think the same can be said this season. 3 draws in a row now against Ipswich, Forest. Obviously, the draw against Arsenal's okay. But I'm keeping this one very brief. I like Chelsea. Chelsea are going to win this. But a price of 7 to 10 is far too short, Malcolm. You need to tag on the over 1.5 goals. Chelsea win and over 1.5 goals at 10 to 11.
The 1-0 is very much in play here, Baz. You not think?
Nah, Chelsea are going to score at least a couple.
That's risky. Yeah, Chelsea put a nice sequence together, you know. Lost to City on the opening day, but we've won out since then. 2 clean sheets, 3 away wins. Look good. There's no reason not to bet them here. Brighton are unbeaten, but the 3 draws in a row and the last 2 against Ipswich and Forest, the form line's just not as strong. I like how Chelsea are playing. They've got momentum. I'm going to take Chelsea 7 to 10, minus 142. Next up is Everton taking on Crystal Palace. Everton are trading at 17 to 10 plus 170. The draw is 23 to 10 plus 230. Crystal Palace 13 to 8 plus 162. This was horrible, absolutely horrible. We're waiting for Michael to give us a steer, but he's taking the Fifth Amendment. Come on, Michael, be better than that. Everton could not hold on last time at Leicester, but did pick up their first point. Lots of goals in their games, but I do think that trend's going to settle down. I think it has to. They're still they're going to be an unders team, aren't they? I can't see these 3-2s cracking on. Palace are only sitting on 3 points with no wins. I think they were probably ultimately a little bit fortunate to pick up a point against Man United last week, even though they made good chances. Like Eze probably should have slotted a couple. Really, really tricky. There was a couple of games on the board that are really tricky to split, which is fair enough. The books have got them pretty much at identical prices. I think Palace can get off the mark, but they got a decent away point at Chelsea. The draw against Man United. It is just a slightly better form line than who the teams Everton are failing to beat. So yeah, give me Palace 13 to 8 plus 162.
Yeah, so I've feared Everton most weeks, but I didn't get quite as far as you this week and taking Palace to win. Everton obviously still winless after 5 games, just a 1 point against Leicester. But Palace haven't fared much better. 3 points from their 5. I mean, they've avoided defeat in 3 straight games, including Man United and Chelsea. So the form looks a little bit better for Palace, you'd have to say. The head-to-head between the two doesn't yield many goals. Just 3 goals in the last 3 games between these two sides. 3 of the last 5 have been a draw. 4 of the last 5 have been under 2.5 goals. So the unders was one I thought about. 10 to 11. But the thing that put me off that a little bit was Everton's recent propensity to score some goals and then concede more goals at the other end. That's not a good thing if you're backing unders. So, yeah, Everton, 12 goals in the last 3 Everton games. Can't back the unders for that reason. But otherwise, I would have went for that. Hard to split the two teams. A little bit of positivity around Everton this week. Possible takeover progress. That might give them a little
positive, though? It's just another bunch of fucking idiots in it.
They might have some more money, but they're going to write off all the debt, aren't they? Which is positive because at the moment they're hemorrhaging money, I think, in all that debt they've got. So I think it would be a positive. I mean, it shouldn't really affect anything on the pitch, but you never know. It might make them a little bit happier in the stands. I think this one's got draw written all over it. I'm not willing to take either side, so I'm just going to go right down the middle. As I said before, 3 of the last 5 between these has finished in a draw. Neither of them are playing very well. Palace have just drawn 3 in a row. Everton can't win a game, so I'll take the draw. Give me the draw. Everton Palace 23-10.
Okay, yeah, I don't mind. There was a load of these games. If I sat down and handicapped them all again tomorrow, I could come down with 10 different sides, 10 different picks. This next game is similar to that Everton Palace game. It's 2 sort of middling teams and 2 prices that are very close together in the markets here. It's Nottingham Forest taking on Fulham. Forest 7-5 plus 140. The draw 23-10 plus 230, and Fulham are 2-1. But
so Forest still unbeaten, 2 wins, 3 draws, took 4 points from the last 2 games. Away trips to Brighton and Liverpool as well. It's not a bad effort to pick up 4 points from those 2 games. The 2-2 Brighton was the first of their games to go over 2.5 goals this season. So they have been low scoring up until that point. Not a lot of goals in Forest games at all. And likewise with Fulham, 3 of their 5 have gone under 2.5. I think the 3-1 Fulham over Newcastle was a bit of an outlier in terms of the goals. I found Fulham pretty underwhelming so far. I don't know how good they were because I had no will to go back and watch any highlights from our game. Everything I read was that we were terrible. So I'm not sure how good Fulham were or how much it was just us not being very good. I think the downside for Forest here is Gibbs White's out. That will make a difference. Takes a little bit away from them. A little bit of a leveler. If he was in, I would probably fancy Forest here. I think there'd be a big enough price to take them. But without him, I think the unders is the way to go. I don't see there being many goals in this between these 2 sides. Forest just haven't got a lot of goals in them, but they're not shipping many at the other end either. Someone's going to nick this 1-0. Maybe will be a 1-1. But either way, it's going to be under 2.5 goals. So Forest v Fulham for me, under 2.5 goals at 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, this is 8th v 9th in the table. Forest 1-2, lost. No, what Forest done? They haven't won 2, lost 3 because they drew last week for a start.
They're unbeaten, Forest. They've drew 3.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, 1-2, drawn 3, yeah. Both home games finished 1-1, I noticed. Without the Liverpool game in there, I know you can't just take games out, but the form line isn't that strong. They've got a win against Southampton, and then a draw by Bournemouth, who have decided they're shit. A draw by Wolves, who are definitely shit. So they haven't beaten teams around them, or the teams that are going to be around them. Fulham, 2 wins and 2 draws since losing at Man United on the opening day. I couldn't tell you how Fulham were any good last week because we were that bad. And to be fair, had Fabian Shaw not missed an absolute sitter, that game would have been sitting at 2-2 with 15 minutes left. And a little bit like Bournemouth, that's what Fulham played like when Newcastle were bad, and Bournemouth still couldn't beat us. So Fulham kind of got away with that a little bit. They're very, very evenly matched. Gibbs White does represent quite a drop-off. We've talked before about teams losing their best players. It's not that complicated. It will make a difference. I'm happy to bet it as it is an evenly matched game. So I'm going to take the draw, Baz. I like your play. You said it might be 1-1. I totally agree. I'm going to take the draw 23-10 plus 230. But Barry, for the first time in a couple of weeks, it is the 1-1 draw of the week.
1-1 draw of the week. Both teams scored a goal.
Hey, very good. We enjoy playing that. Thanks, Pat. We move on after I've told you first about BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. BetUS has been around for over 30 years. You can deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. Support SGPN and get yourself access to another great book by signing up at BetUS. Use our link to sign up and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS is America's favourite sportsbook. And Rhythm, SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive models in seconds, get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. You can build your own model or copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard. Do all of that and claim your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Tea time on Saturday, 5:30, 12:30 Eastern time, is Wolverhampton Wanderers against Liverpool. Wolves are 13-2 plus 650. The draw 9-2 plus 450. Liverpool are 9-25 minus 227. Barry,
Was it me to go first on this one?
is it not your turn? Oh no, it's my turn, isn't it?
I thought it was. There you go.
It is, yeah. Oh, don't fuck the system up, Baz. The old fabric of society relies on stuff like this. I don't think Wolves are very good, Barry. I've had a quite a soft spot the last couple of days, but the last couple of seasons. But I'm not having them. 1 point. They've found various ways to lose games. They've lost games. They've been in front. They have lost games late. They've got absolutely twatted. So various different methods. They lost the big centre back as well, the big signing Mosquera. Now, he did look like a walking accident in the first few games. He reminded me a little bit of Nia Carty, who played for Forest last year, and was just doing all sorts of mad stuff, but then did actually calm down. So they were expecting better from Mosquera. And regardless of what I think of him, I think he's going to be a big miss. They're a little bit light at centre-back. And that's certainly a bad thing against Liverpool. We talked last week about the West Ham centre-backs. Mavropanos and Kilman struggling against Chelsea. But West Ham do the same. I saw Kilman struggling again against Liverpool's strike force in the week. Liverpool, that blip v Forest is really hard to explain because I watched that game a lot. However, they did bounce back really well. They got the win against Bournemouth. They looked great in Milan, which is a whole different level to this. They've had 4 handicap wins so far. All 4 of them were with clean sheets as well. So one of those 2 is the way to go. I think Liverpool are going to batter them here. Liverpool minus 1.5, Barry's even money. What a great price. I'll take Liverpool on the handicap.
Yeah, I've got the same pick. I think very brief handicap. I don't need to go over the stuff you have. Wolves have had a shocker so far, but also not just in terms of the results, the fixtures. Every week it's another big team coming up against them. They faced Villa, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal. Lost all of them. So very hard for them to make any case for Wolves getting anything from Liverpool. As you say, they bounced back from that result. They went and beat Milan, then won in the EFL Cup. They had a good result last week and winning them games well as well. All of those 4 defeats for Wolves saw them concede 2 or more. The 3 of the 4 were by a margin of 2 or more. And I found it very hard to look anywhere else there. Liverpool have just won 3-1, 3-0, 5-1 against better sides than Wolves. Liverpool minus 1.5 in the handicap at. I had them at evens. I don't know what price you said you had, but I'm taking.
I said evens, Baz.
Good. So yeah, same pick.
Good.
Wolves Liverpool minus 1.5. Liverpool handicap.
Thanks for listening. Moving on to Sunday, 2 o'clock, which is 9 a.m. Eastern time. We have Ipswich Town taking on Aston Villa. Ipswich are 3-1. The draw is 27-10 plus 270. Villa are 9-10 minus 111. Barry?
This one is me first. This one, Malcolm. I'll go first.
I said Barry.
Me, because that's the system. I mean, Ipswich have definitely got a touch of the Burnleys from last season. We've said it a few times. And I can't sit here. I made the mistake last year of giving Burnley far too much rope early in the season. And I'm not doing it again. So I can't keep sitting here saying Ipswich will improve. They'll start winning. We forgave them defeats against City and Liverpool. We said the season started after that. But they've not flattered much since. 3 straight draws. Southampton, Brighton, Fulham. And it's not beating Southampton. That's the problem. That's a concern. Because Southampton haven't been good at all. It was a really late equaliser in that one as well for Ipswich. So fortunate not to have lost it in the end. Villa's a much tougher prospect. They've won 5 straight in all competitions. They've won 6 of 7 in all competitions. Only defeat is to Arsenal. And they've shown a really good attitude and having to come back from behind in games as well. They went behind the Wolves, come back and win. They went 2 behind against Everton. They come back and win. I thought about getting fancy with Villa here and looking at second half goals because it seems to be they're always coming from behind. It always seems like the goals are coming in the second half. But I just think Villa to win is just a fair price for a team who are picking up a real head of steam, winning games pretty much every week against Ipswich, who are just struggling a little bit. Villa at 9 to 10 just looks like a straightforward pick. I'll take Villa to beat Ipswich at 9 to 10.
We're starting to sync up here, Barry, back into this card. That is my pick, Villa to win outright, 9 to 10, minus 111. In pretty much the same notes. I mean, it was Lee mentioned it last week. We were sitting here last season, week 32. Well, I think Burnley could go well this week. We were still going the middle of March, and they never did. They were just dog shit every week. And the worrying thing, the disappointing thing for Ipswich would be not being able to turn Southampton over last week and needing a 95th minute deflection to not get beat, because it was too easy to give them a life for losing to Liverpool and to give them another life for losing to Manchester City. I can't see a reason not to back Villa. They've won in some difficult spots. They won at West Ham. They've come from behind twice. They look comfortable against Middlesbrough in the Champions League. They rested everyone midweek against Wycombe Wanderers, absolutely everyone. So there'll be no issues there. Yeah, Villa 9 to 10. Minus 111. Villa win with both teams scoring a goal is Harry's pick. Yeah, it's a possibility, especially as we've just said, the come from behind thing that Villa have been doing lately. So Ipswich could get in front and Villa fight back. Sunday afternoon, what a fascinating game this is to handicap. Manchester United against Tottenham at 4:30, 11:30 Eastern Time. Man United are 13 to 10, plus 130. And Tottenham are 15 to 8, plus 187. Tottenham are live as we speak, are 1-0 up, approaching half time in that late kickoff. Have had Dragusin, he of the top knot / man, but the Romanian's been sent off for Tottenham, so they are down to 10 men, which I think will make a little difference. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at their lineup, but I'm assuming. What's happened there, Baz? Why have we swapped sides?
I don't know. I pressed a button and made you really small. And then I pressed another button and kicked you out entirely. So we maybe's lost a couple of words there. And then I brought you back and now you're on the other side. So it is what it is.
If I hadn't come back when I came back there, I wouldn't not have known any of that would have happened. And you wouldn't have told me then. I could have just been obliviously. I was looking at the live score of the Tottenham game.
I could have just left you out, to be honest. Nobody would have really lost out in any way.
Well, I know that, but that's quite mean, isn't it, Barry? Fucking hell. You see, I'll tell you the problems I'm having this week. The first 4 words I've written down are Man United are too short. That's 5 words. Man United's too short, it says. My pick is Man United at the bottom. So this is the problem I've given myself. I'm just sitting here arguing with myself. They've beaten Fulham, Southampton and Barnsley. But the problem is they haven't beaten Brighton, Crystal Palace, 20 last night with 5-1 on. Managed to not win that one. Apparently, the old egghead today said 20 wanted it more. I mean, that's the sort of stuff like Enya Lugo gets shit for saying. Like, 2024, we've got all this high-level tactical analysis, and someone says the other team wanted it more. And that's what he said. How can you say that as the manager of Manchester United, that this other team wanted to win more? And he's quite happy with that as well, by the way. Absolutely preposterous. So it's hard to fancy Spurs as well, because they've got the same old issues. We've talked a couple of weeks ago about this DNA that Tottenham seem to have. They had the same mistakes for an entire generation. It's absolutely baffling. And they're at it again tonight, even if they hang on to win or whatever. They've now going to play an hour of the game. I'm going to have a little look at what lineup they've got out tonight, actually, because where are we going? Lineups: Vicario, Gray, Davis, Van der Ven. So Van der Ven's now running around doing 2 people's jobs. Sarbasuma, Johnson, Solanke, and Son. So that will absolutely knock a little hole in Tottenham, I think. 2 away games, only 1 point. the games that they've won, Tottenham's bread and butter. They've battered Everton at home. They beat Brentford at home. That's what they can do. That flat track bullies, like you put them in a proper game and they'll shit the bed. There's no real patterns with the over or the unders or the both teams to score. At both points today, I talked myself into both teams. I looked at Tottenham shots as a cop-out because I know that's been profitable for me. But the line's up to 29.5. The bookies are onto it as well. So I had to get away from that. I'm going to take Man United, but 13 to 10 plus 130. I know, yeah. Absolutely. I'll be delighted to be wrong. I'll be happy with a draw. Tottenham are a fiasco, and Man United were decent for an hour last week against Crystal Palace. Could have been 2-0 up. I don't know if I'm buying it. This is really hard, mate. This will be way down my list of things that I put a tenner on this week.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone the opposite way. It is a hard game to pick. Because, I mean, Man United were back, weren't they, last week? After beating Southampton, they beat Barnsley. Everyone thought they were back. And then suddenly they weren't back because they couldn't beat Palace, couldn't beat FC20. And it was, again, on the radio, and Man United fans were doing their nut about the FC20 result last night because apparently the performance was absolutely awful. But nothing that we haven't come to expect from them, though. There might be a few new faces in this season, but it just looks identical to last season. It's the same sort of stuff they're putting out that just makes you feel like they can lose a game against anybody. And hard to back them with any confidence, I think. And the price wasn't big enough to convince me. Ten Hag's going to be coming under early pressure again, I hope, because I did put him out as my little pick for the first manager gone, but there's a few others pushing him for that as well. I mean, Spurs aren't faring much better. Very inconsistent, you would say. 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. So it is a really hard game to predict for that reason. The last 3 heads I looked at, 2-2, 2-0 Spurs, 2-2. So I really want to factor Spurs in, possibly because I always want to try and oppose Man United if I get the opportunity to do so. I wasn't bold enough to take Spurs to win, so I haven't gone directly opposite you. They have been underwhelming, Spurs, but they've only failed to score against Arsenal. And I think there's a good opportunity here. This Man United side are vulnerable. They have been for years now. And Old Trafford doesn't scare anybody anymore. It isn't a fortress anymore. Everybody goes to Old Trafford and thinks they can win. That wasn't the case in the old days. It is now. FC20 went there last night thinking, we can get something here. Like, nobody is concerned. And I don't think Spurs will. And we know Spurs will go out attacking against anybody. I think you look at Liverpool went there, were able to score 3. Fulham obviously lost, but went and had a go there. I think Spurs will have a go, and I think they'll get a couple of goals. Really hard game. I agree with you. It might be equally as bad a pick as yours, but I'm taking Spurs. I wanted to factor Spurs in. I'm taking the team total. Spurs to score 2 or more at 10 to 11 is the pick for me.
That was a pick that I instinctively wanted to look at. And then I've just remembered watching them not score 2 goals against loads of teams. They make 20-12 chances, but not score any goals. So I just couldn't pull the trigger on that one. We're getting a corner angle, quite popular in the chat. Joe fancies. Again, the books are onto that. Like, the line was up at 12.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. The bookies are onto us this week. They're 11 to 10. Over 12, where over 11 is at 7 to 10 minus 142. So you might have to go a little bit further up the ladder. Joe's going up to over 16.5 at 5 to 1, or just Man United corners. Harry's pointing out it's not a bad bit. So yeah, everyone trying to find an angle into that one because it is a little bit tricky. That baseball bet has officially gone to shit, so I've knocked that off and I put the Tottenham game on, although it's gone to half time now. Finally, we've got a little bit of Monday night football. We might get a live watch of this, maybe, Baz, on Monday. It is Bournemouth against Southampton. Bournemouth are 11 to 17, minus 153. The draw is 31 to 10, plus 310. Southampton 17 to 4, plus 425. Barry, finish us off with a winner.
Yeah, it's hardly the cracker for Monday night football, is it? But I think that's possibly just because Southampton are in there, and I've got a very negative view of Southampton at the moment. I think it's all Ben Brereton Diaz's fault.
It is.
Ever since that first day, I've just thought, that's it, I'm out on them. I'll never back
Fuck 'em.
Southampton again, and I've enjoyed everything that's happened since. Bournemouth have started quite brightly. They were unbeaten in their first 3. They've lost the last 2 without scoring, but that was against Liverpool and Chelsea, who are both going well. And I think this is a good opportunity for Bournemouth to come back and put in a good display. Southampton's only point so far came last week against Ipswich. And as I say, possibly a little unfortunate given how late the equaliser was. But doesn't do enough for me to put me on to Southampton. I think we've seen enough from Bournemouth to suggest they'll be more competitive than Southampton. Last couple of games were tough ones. They'll bounce back here. I mean, they beat Everton. That's your comparison game there. Bournemouth will win this one, but it's a little bit too short. So, I mean, you've probably just taken Bournemouth to win, I imagine. But once again,
plus 1.5.
Once again, I've added the 1.5 on. Bournemouth win and over 1.5 goals at 4-5 is my pick here.
I think you doing that is worse than me just making my pick, Barry. You're just cheating by taking that. And I hope this weekend someone pulls your pants down as a result of that. It's shocking. You're manipulating, Barry. You're manipulating the goodwill of this community that we have here, Barry. And I hope people can see it for what it is. Bournemouth, I don't think Bournemouth are very good, frankly. 1 win in 5. They look quite dangerous going forward in spots, but not particularly impressed with them. They haven't scored against Chelsea and Liverpool. They're going to be bettable against the bottom clubs, Baz. And this is a spot where I think you can pick them. Southampton have picked up 1 point now against Ipswich. Still no dignity, which is a shame. And they probably should have won last week. But they haven't been able to compete against any established Premier League team. And that's exactly what Bournemouth are. So I want Bournemouth in this spot. And I think Bournemouth could run up a score here, Baz. I've got Bournemouth. The team total, over 2.5 goals, is 13-8, plus 162. I very nearly picked Evan Nielsen as my anytime scorer for the week, but I didn't. Joe fancies him in the chat. I totally agree with you. Evan Nielsen. I don't like to wait a Monday night for any of our fancy players, so I wanted to get one in early. And like I said, we might do this live on Monday while the game's on. So I do like Evan Nielsen to get us a goal. But I'm going to take Bournemouth to get a few goals. Over 2.5, 13-8, plus 162. And Barry, that is 10 games in the book. Where do you want to start? Do you want me to go? Do you want to go with the exotics?
Kick off where you want it, wherever you want to kick off. You do it.
Well, as I said at the top, underdogs, Baz. I haven't got one. I haven't picked a money line underdog at all. The only one that fits is West Ham. I took Brentford to score twice, so West Ham are going to have to nick it 3-2. Like I said, I don't fancy any of them. Palace might be a pick 'em in places, but the odds we've used tonight, the slight favourites against Everton, and I think it's a chalky card. I think it's a favourite. It's a favourites card. So I'll give West Ham out as my dog. My lock is Manchester City. Have that, dickhead. 3-5, Man City minus 166. The Americans will love that, but anytime goal scorer, Nicholas Jackson. He did great for me. 11-2, plus 550, first and last. 7-4, plus 175 anytime. You give yours out, and then we'll get into the Yakkers, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, my scorer is the same as you. I've got Nicholas Jackson, 7-4 anytime, 11-2 first and last. 4 goals already this season. Chelsea starting to click. I think Nicholas Jackson is a good one. Underdog, I went for Spurs to beat Man United, 15-8. Like you look down that card, there's not a lot of underdogs jump off at all. So forced to one, but it was the 15-8 for Spurs. Akkers. Should I go in with my Akkers?
Yeah.
I have got money line, just straight up win Akkers. 2 completely different ones. I've made the mistake of having one and then just tagging something on to make me bigger one. And the first one loses. So inevitably the second one loses. So I've changed tack this week. First Akker is Chelsea, Villa, Bournemouth, all to win. 9-2. Dead easy. The second one is a bit more of a long shot one, and it's Everton to win. Ooh, Everton, Christ. No, it's not. Sorry, it's not. That's wrong. It's Everton Palace to draw. Forest to win and Spurs to win. That one comes in at 20-1. So the draw, Everton Palace, Forest to win, Spurs to win, 20-1 for the big steak and Stilton Acker.
Even my Ackers are shit prices this week, Barry. I bet I haven't even tried. I won last week, by the way. Me corned beef pie was a winner. So this one is a money line treble, a win treble on Manchester City. I'm quite keen on Man City this week, if you noticed. Man City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. That comes in at 27-10 plus 270. And my stake in Stilton, I think it's a chalky card, Baz. I think I can put out 6 money line winners here without a problem. And that's Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, with Arsenal, Villa, and Bournemouth tagged on. So we've got the 5 shorties, 5 odds on. Well, and then Bournemouth on Monday night. And that's 14-1. So that's not even a hugely fancy price Baz either. But that's just the mood I was in today. That's how I was rolling. So there you go.
Well, I haven't given out
finally, I've remembered, Barry, to announce
No.
Baz's ladders. What?
I haven't given out my lock yet. I didn't give my lock. My lock will be, since we're going short prices, I'll chuck out Chelsea. I won't bother tagging anything on. 7-10 Chelsea will be my lock for this week. Chelsea to beat Brighton. And yes, we'll finish off with Baz's ladders. A couple of disappointing weeks. Last week was really bad. Didn't get close. The week before, we missed out by a whisker. But we're back in the shots school because the shots market, because we had some good success with it early on with a player who I've brought up again here. And it's back to Semenyo for Bournemouth. So we do have to wait for an exotic pick on a Monday night, but it does mean we can live sweat it on here possibly. He's got 24 shots so far, Semenyo, and he's only failed to hit the starting line once in those 5 games. Semenyo's had 4, 3, 5, 7, 5. The starting line's over 3.5. I mean, he managed 4 last week against Liverpool in a 3-0 defeat. He only played 70 minutes. He still got 4 shots on goal. He hit 7 against Newcastle as well. So I like Bournemouth. They're playing Southampton, which is another reason to go back into Bournemouth shots. But yeah, over 3.5 Semenyo shots, 11-10. Over 4.5 is 12-5. He's hit that over 4.5 3 times already this season, getting nearly 5-2 for it. Over 5.5, 5-1. And as I say, he's done the 7 before. So over 6.5, Semenyo shots at 10-1. That's your ladder for this week. Baz's ladders, done.
Very good, Barry. I've just had a notification on my phone that Dragusin got sin binned and not sent off. Is that a thing now?
Yeah. I didn't know there was a sin bin.
Might not be. I might have misread it.
It shows on my page as he's sent off, like.
Yeah.
He made a horrible challenge on the opponent and then received a red card. So, yeah, I think he's just red carded.
Sports talking about. I didn't read it particularly thoroughly. Right, okay, Baz, well done. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone in the chat. Chat was buzzing, full of beans. I apologise for my miserable demeanour this week. Combination of all sorts. Mainly Newcastle being shit last Saturday. I should really grow up, Barry. And I didn't enjoy the snot rockets in the tropical storm shower. Anything else to tell the people before we go, Baz?
No, nothing more from me.
Nothing more from you. We'll be back at some point Sunday, Monday, maybe. Keep your eye out for the scheduled show on YouTube. Like, rate, review, throw some more reviews in. The bosses see them. It's important. It'll pay the bills. Right. Thanks very much, everybody. Until next time, we will see you all down the road. Cheers.